All right, folks, we got here a little bit of a friction subject here. That is, it's having to do with Eminem. Okay, now as you all know that I do not consider him one of the greatest. He's not even in the top 20 to me, as far as I'm concerned. I'm gonna go ahead and say the top 50, 51, the top 51. All right. Sincere, on the other hand, she's pro Eminem, like a sucker. She's a pro Eminem stan.
This is a debate format, so I'm forced to be pro Eminem because
It's not forced. She wants to be.
Because Prince would not even consider being a pro Eminem for this whole debate. So This is a debate, and I'm forced to be pro Eminem.
There's nobody's forcing you. No, let me tell you what happened, people. She came out the gate caping for Eminem. Talking about he had 12 How many albums you said? He had 12, 2, 4?
I said 2.
2 Oh my God.
I said 2, and only because I got them confused. But I mean, wait a minute.
Nah.
Wait. No, you making me. No. Yes, I did say actually that he has classics because I'm pro Eminem.
No, because you said he had 2 classic albums.
More
I'm trying to figure out what 2.
The Slim Shady.
Trash.
LP. Guilty Conscious.
Trash.
Which was amazing. Amazing single.
Trash.
You know, the Marshal Matters LP, which...
I'll give you Marshal Matters.
Okay.
I'll give you Marshal Matters, but don't go clicking around somewhere else.
You know, Eminem Infinite is a great album.
Oh, that's an AZ throwaway album. AZ throwaway album.
It's a great album.
His best AZ
is off the charts.
You think Infinite was a good album?
It was a solid album.
That was his best AZ rendition. All we needed was Cormega.
He's better than AZ.
Okay, see, you popping the same pills he was popping.
Oh, I don't need to pop any pills to know that Eminem is the shit. Lyrically, he's dope. 8 Miles also, you know, that movie, that last scene reflected that, how he was able to resonate with people across
lies, Hollywood, right? That's what it looked like to me. The true Hollywood
Everything
story.
Is Hollywood. A rap video is a part of Hollywood. It's a part of creating one's mythology or building one up. That is what hip hop is.
You know damn well that was a fantasy movie. Ain't no blue-eyed blonde.
We ain't talking about his growing up. Nobody cares about that. I'm talking about.
But you just said 8
freestyling.
Mile.
Yeah, the ending. I said the ending. The freestyle.
So you can't do that now. You can't just pick out the end of the movie and not
because we're talking about lyricism. We're talking about albums. What are you talking
his mythology got solidified after that movie. Let's be real. Okay, let's be real. Admit it. Before
8 Miles, because 8 Miles was nominated for an Oscar. It was a great track.
He was able to create his own narrative.
That's what you do as a rapper. You create your own narrative.
And it's called lying.
It doesn't matter.
It's called lying.
It doesn't matter.
I grew up in the rough, tough parts of Detroit. 8 Mile. I was the only white boy getting my ass kicked at freestyle battles, and I just happened to tell everybody to kiss my ass and walk out of there safely.
You do know once black people let somebody in, they are allowed to exhibit those type of behaviors. I mean, look at the guys in Detroit who are around Eminem. I mean,
they did come out
to 5'9",
but they even came out. Even some of the people in this camp, even the D12, some of the D12 cats came out and said, it may have been a little bit embellished.
Well, it's a narrative, a hip-hop narrative. You're supposed to embellish. Who hasn't?
It's like 50 Cent getting shot 52 times.
Exactly. So now going back to the point of this debate about is Eminem one of the greats, should be considered in the top 10?
No.
Lyrically, freestyle, let's go from point to point. We're going to go from point to point.
Okay, let's go ahead. Break it down so I can break your bullshit argument down.
Freestyles. What would you rate Eminem as?
I would give him a 10.
Okay, we're same regard.
Right.
Albums.
I would give him a 5.
Okay, I will give him an 8.
Because I will say Eminem has one of the worst discographies in hip-hop history. Extremely inconsistent.
I wouldn't say it's extremely inconsistent. You know, I felt he has a lot of solid albums, but one of the worst, no, I would say Lil Wayne, because he has one solid album. I mean, one classic album, and the rest is just mostly garbage.
Lil Wayne?
Yeah.
That's something.
We're just saying one of the worst. I mean, we have to put in, or are you talking about one of the worst pertaining to the greatest? or one of the worst on the wall.
Look, that's, you know, and then the Lil Wayne argument is not really fair.
It's not just Lil Wayne though. I
but
can put
no,
up some more.
It's not even a fair. If you're gonna do that, pick out somebody else, because let's be real, it's pretty much a general consensus on the internet. People don't like Lil Wayne.
Oh, come on, Prince. People cape for Lil Wayne all the time. In fact, people cape too much for Lil Wayne.
Ain't nobody caping for Lil Wayne.
Yes.
They got so many Lil Wayne roach jokes right now. So many cockroach jokes.
Lil Wayne created his own problems with putting out crappy albums, you know, after his success in 2008. We're talking about the worst albums or discography in hip-hop.
Lil Wayne had a three-peat. He did have a three-peat. He had Carter 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, he fell off.
But 3 is a classic. The other 2 were just, they were all right.
They were much more consistent than Eminem shit.
No, I wouldn't say
that. So wait a minute, let me go back.
Because he has Infinite. You have Infinite.
Come on, man.
You have Infinite.
That old fake AZ mixtape.
You have Infinite in 1996. And after that,
throwing on his best New York impersonation.
You
but
have
go ahead.
Slim Shady, 1999, and then
trash.
You also have the Marshal Matters LP. That's a 3P.
Hi, my name is. It doesn't
matter. That's
Slim Shady.
Guilty Conscious.
My bum is on your lip. My bum is on your lip.
Guilty Conscious. Come on.
There's no coming on.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a solid discography.
Old Curtain Call, Hot Trash. Eminem Show was a decent album.
Eminem Show was good.
Not a classic, so stop.
I didn't say it was
I saw
a classic.
You got a little happy there.
I said 3.
Well, you the one that said he had 2 classics, like, you know, he in the books with Pac and Big.
No one's in the books with Pac and Big.
Okay.
First of all.
Well, we'll just say Nas and Jay.
He's right behind them.
Oh, shut up, man. Now you smoking meth, amphetamine, and crack, and raccoon piss.
He's right behind them. Now, going back to the Slim Shady LP, you know, he doesn't just have My Name Is. He has Guilty Conscience, Brain Damage. You know, he got If I, 97, Bonnie and Clyde.
What are the lyrics to that?
Role Model, Lounge, My Fault.
Man, look at the track list. I don't even remember any of them songs.
You don't remember Rock Bottle? You don't remember?
I remember the Rock. If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
So if you can't remember, if you're not even really listening to Eminem's tracks like that, how can you classify him as anything?
Okay, great point. Now here's the deal. The reason why is because I don't like his music.
See, we have a bias here, guys. So
no, we don't.
Prince doesn't like his music, so he doesn't give it a chance.
Okay, well, how about this then?
I have to give people a chance before I've
heard the music. I've heard the albums.
You haven't really listened to it all the way through.
Because I don't like it. I don't have to go back. I'm not one of these people that sit up and be like, "Oh, the album's gonna grow on me."
No, I'm not talking about grow on you. Okay, let's clarify. Are you saying, have you listened to the whole
I've listened to the whole album. I've listened to the Slim Shady LP like 3 or 4 times. I did not like it.
Okay, so you just clarify there. Still, I think you're biased against it because it has a solid singles. I mean, there's a lot of singles on here that were dope, and you said you don't remember.
That's because most of y'all was probably playing Super Nintendo or N64. This is for the N64 crowd.
I was playing video games
and
at
listening
that time,
and listening to the Slim Shady LP
and other artists.
I was outside selling crack. Nobody has time for Eminem. And then he came back with Marshal Matters 2. All right, since you were staying, hold on. Since you were staying, I heard Marshal Matters 2. I thought it was hot garbage.
I'm not a stand because it was hot garbage. But there's a very rare few MCs that actually have a discography where there is a 1 or 2 hot garbage.
I can throw
Nas has a hot garbage.
I ain't gonna even go for Nas. That's too easy.
Oh, he's top 4 though.
But no,
he's top 4.
No. He's top 4. Well, I'm gonna say this though. I don't even have to go for Nas because that could be a default position. I can call out Redman, Ghostface Killer. We can go through the list. Outkast.
Wait a minute. We already know those people.
We know Eminem.
We're talking about people in the top 10. There are people in the top 10 that have hot garbage albums.
And guess what? There will be people that are not on the top 10 that has hot garbage albums.
I'm just saying,
started with Eminem.
You can't put the Marshal Matters LP 2 against him as a reason for him not to be on the top 10.
Pull out the
when Nas has a hot garbage album or two.
Okay, now you pushing it. Two.
Or two.
The least favorite people unanimously agree with is Nostradamus, which is still the Queensbridge junk, right? Mm-hmm. The horse and jungle niggas. I forgot about them. Mm-hmm.
So
well, I mean, you know.
So we gotta.
But that was a collaboration album.
Oh, wait a minute.
That was we not talking about.
He still co-signed Hot Garbage.
No, but that's a collaboration album. That's a collaboration album. We talking about solo joints. We talking about solo joints. Let's keep it real. The only Nas album that most people unanimously least dislike, and it's not even a whack album. It's just their least favorite is Nostradamus. Okay, you got Relapse. You got the Slim Shady LP. You got Marshal Matters 2. Then you had Curtain. You got Curtain Call. Look, this boy got four whack albums.
The Marshal Matters LP. Oh, fuck it. Who cares?
The boy got 4 whack albums.
He has 4 whack albums. Let's move on.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. Don't get me wrong. I want people to understand this. He's a dope lyricist. Don't get that twisted.
No, I don't care. Even into this position
but I will say this. What I did notice though right before he signed Slaughterhouse, because Slaughterhouse, Joel Ortiz, Joe Budden, Crooked Eye, those are they in Crooked Eye. They rely heavily on punchlines. Eminem never did. He relied heavily on the rhyming scheme.
Yeah.
After he linked up with them when he dropped Recovery and then the other album.
Yeah, no, he started to implement that into his style.
Yeah, to the point like it was some points he was biting Crooked Eye.
Let's just be real. I'm just gonna say this publicly. Prince forced me into this position to be pro Eminem.
I did not.
He did.
No, I did not.
She
initially started off talking about he had 2 classic albums.
All I said was Eminem has 1 or 2 classic albums.
You said 2.
No, I said 1 or 2.
You said 2.
And then I said, yeah, the one with How My Name Is. And then you said, wait, isn't that the one, the Slim Shady? I was like, you're right. Yeah, that's not the Marshal Matters LP. That was the one classic. But I said certain people like Elliot and people on the Source magazine, they'll consider the Slim Shady and the Marshal Matters LP.
Oh, Elliot Wilson's a dick rider.
He is a dick rider. But it's kind of like with Kendrick Lamar, the average person thinks he has 3. The magazine's 2.
And then the art hipster nut hugging pants yuppie thinks he has 1. To pimp a butterfly.
Yeah, so when you have all these perspectives circulating in hip hop, there's always a debate on how many classic albums a hip hop artist has. For me personally, Eminem has 1, the Marshal Matters. That was really a great album, and everything else.
It's goofy.
I would say Eminem Infinite is not Infinite. Yeah, Infinite is a solid one, but that's more of AZ, like you said. East Coast, swagger, Jack in there. Relapse is garbage. Recovery, couple hot tracks, but garbage. The Marshal Matters LP2, garbage.
I'm telling you, folks, all you gotta do,
garbage.
All you gotta do is how many garbage albums versus classics?
Garbage. The Eminem Show, garbage. I mean, the Eminem Show, average.
Eminem Show wasn't bad.
It's solid.
It wasn't bad.
And a bunch of collaborative efforts.
But think about it. He had, let's go through this one more time here. Yeah. Whack albums he had. He had 1 classic, the Marshal Mathers album.
Versus 5 duds.
Yes, so you had Recovery, Slim Shady, Relapse, Encore.
Whoa. Slim Shady, we can't say is a dub because too many people still think that is a classic in certain circles. We're talking about on both ends that there's no one that can.
But Slim Shady is not a universally praised like Marshal Mathers.
It's not, but people still don't consider it a dub.
Then that's not a classic.
I'm not saying it's a classic. I'm saying solid.
We could throw it in a solid category like the Eminem Show.
Exactly, that's.
But he got Encore, he got Relapse, Recovery, and Marshal Mathers. That's like 4 duds, right?
4 or 5 duds.
Yeah, so it's like, come on, man.
It has 4 or 5 duds, 1 classic, and 2 solids.
But this is the guy that Billboard keeps inching up above Nas, Hove,
and Nas
Pac.
Have a discography where he only has 1, and that one is a solid, but it's not a classic.
Yeah, that's all it is. But he got Illmatic. It was written.
Jay-Z only has 2.
You got Kingdom Come and
2 duds.
Holy Grail.
2 duds and 1 solid.
2 duds, 1 solid,
and a bunch of classics.
You got a
Reasonable
bunch of
Doubt,
classics.
classic.
You got
The
a bunch of
Blueprint,
classics.
classic.
Yeah, he got some classics.
Who else is on? Tupac. I don't think Tupac ever put out a whack album.
If he did, he wasn't around to see it.
Yeah. So Biggie, wasn't alive. 2 classic albums.
2 classics.
Who else would they put on the list sometimes? Lauryn Hill, 1 classic, and then collaborative classics with the Fugees. They had 2? No, The Score, 1.
They had 1.
1 classic album. Who else do they sometimes put on the list?
I just don't. My point is this. Mm-hmm. I want people to properly put this boy's discography in perspective when they start trying to list him with the greats. Because if we're gonna do that, people, because they're like, oh, his wordplay. His wordplay
is good.
It's great.
It's like, I would say, it's like what we agreed with when we first started, when we were actually being serious. He does get a 10 with freestyles. Because when you see him freestyling, he's amazing.
He's amazing.
But
it doesn't transmute into his artistry.
His content is corny.
There you go.
That's the problem.
There you go. That's all I'm saying. That's why I was saying about the Slim Shady LP. I've even heard people that had the audacity to mention it in the same breath as Southern Playalistic, or Illmatic or Reasonable Doubt or Ready to Die. It's not the same because that dated material.
Yeah, and I think it's confusion in there. I think people need to understand he's a top 10 lyricist when it comes to freestyles. But if we're going to go putting those type of people in the top 10, even though their catalog isn't up to standard, then you could just put anybody who's like a battler, street battler, top 10, freestyler or whatever.
Make Loaded Lux a 5 mic. Right? We're just going to go off wordplay.
Yeah, we're just going to go off wordplay.
Elza should be at the top.
Yeah, then
Cannabis, somebody.
The top 10 would look completely different.
Completely different. And that's all I'm saying. That's like when people used to hear me talk about Eminem, like, I didn't consider him like, that's my personal opinion. I don't care what you rock with. My opinion is that he's not in the top 5.
With ourselves, a lot of people are just nut hugging Eminem, because I even talked to some black people, who say Eminem is really dope. I'm like, okay, so what albums Eminem do you really like? What's the one with Stan?
What's the one?
Oh yeah, the Marshal Matters LP, that was solid. What else you like? Oh, Renegade, that was dope.
That was a Blueprint.
Yeah, and I was like, what else?
Oh, I like
the end of 8 Miles. They usually say.
But that was on the 8 Mile soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then you asked him, I like his verse on "Forgot About Dre." Well, that was on Chronic 2001.
Mm-hmm. So you put all those things together. That in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
All those things is what black people like about Eminem. Just the things that we mentioned. They really kind of forget about everything else.
Yeah, like I keep telling folks, the only time I ever heard Eminem in the quote unquote hood was features.
Yeah, and the ones that we talked about.
Yeah, and black most Negroes like the verses he spit.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But when you allow the other side or the hipsters to try to put him, like when I saw Billboard, there's no way he should have been above Nas.
Well, there's no way Lil Wayne should have been on there. I'm sorry, people with only unless you died or never made an album again after that, because I understand that's why Lauryn Hill is on the list, or why Big Punisher should be on the list and Biggie's on there. Tupac had a lot of music even though before he died. But unless you died or just went off because of mental issues, you have one solid album and a lot of garbage. Actually, it's the ratio. You have one solid album and a bunch of garbage and a couple of solids. You should not be on the top 10. Lauryn Hill, if she would have put out 3 garbage albums right after the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill and her MTV Unplugged, if she would have put out garbage albums after that, she shouldn't be on the top 10. But she didn't.
You know who should have been on the list instead of Lil Wayne? MF Doom.
Oh my God, MF Doom is always overlooked, and it's weird how that occurs, because so many people love MF Doom. He has a very solid following and fan base, and his discography is amazing. He's of course, he comes from the cloth of the Ghostface Killer. He comes from that same cloth.
I wish they hurry up and make that damn album.
Oh, that would be a super
That's
amazing
been waiting
album.
10 years for that.
But it's nice that he still adds his own distinct style into it, even though he's from the Red Man and Ghostface Killer.
Well, he comes from that whole KMD and all that.
Yeah.
That's New York. That whole style. He's He's a real MC.
Yeah.
You know, but that's why I tell this
artwork and everything. He's never lazy.
I mean, if you honestly look, if you really look at Eminem, it's kind of like the whole G Unit sensation. In some cases, if you really look at his discography, he's borderline gimmicky.
Yeah, well, you got new artists like Hot Spin and stuff who say they owe credit, their credit to their style.
I didn't
Eminem.
even like Hot Spin.
But I'm just saying that, I think that's bullshit because Redman already had that energetic, funny, better, mentality in the rap. He was not,
I'm gonna tell you what Eminem's style is. Mm-hmm. It was an infusion of Redman and Big L style.
Yes.
It really was. You throw in a little bit of Big Pun with the rhythm, the cadence. That's what you got with Eminem. Mm-hmm. So that's why when people were like, oh my God, they were losing their mind. I was like, yo, he's not, don't get me wrong. I will never discredit an MC for any other simple reason. But when I look at his discography, I take into account all that. That's why you can argue Big Pun. If Big Pun would have came out with like 5 duds after that, then
it would have been over.
Yeah, but he unfortunately, he died after he made a classic.
And he should be in the top 10 because that's like a Super Saiyan type of classic.
Yeah.
The Punisher, that
what we call them, it's the Megatron albums.
Yeah, it's the Megatron album. Yeah. It's that, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
It's like if Nas would have died right after Illmatic.
Exactly. And these albums never die. No. I hear young kids still listening to the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Only outside of the Marshal Matters, which is still rare. I'm just being real with you. Even if you're talking about guys that are like 17 or whatever, I don't hear them speak of Eminem's albums or his discography in a reoccurring sense like they do a Jay-Z or a Tupac.
No, for Eminem, the reoccurring thing they talk about is usually moments.
Like you go. He has moments.
Yeah.
That's all. But when people, they make these crazy debates that, he should be up there with Pac. And I was like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. It's not even like the boy is ill. Don't get me wrong, he's dope, but it's like
he's dope to an extent. Like let's like you said, let's be real. He's dope to an extent,
right?
He has the certain categories where he excel in, but overall, when you put it together, outside of the Marshal Matters LP, he really doesn't have a consistent body of work to drool over. Like DMX should be above Eminem. Busta Rhymes should
DMX had like 3 classics in a row, right? It was Flesh of My Flesh and Blood of My Blood and It's Hot, It's Dark, or Hell is Hot. And then there was X. Come on, right?
And then after that, so it's like, for me, Eminem shouldn't be in that conversation because he doesn't have the discography to be in that conversation to that level. There's so many people that people are putting on the back burner because of Eminem. And I understand to some degree where people get the confusion from, because it's like, okay, you put a Kanye West versus an Eminem. If Kanye West tried to do a freestyle against Eminem, would he win? Hell no. But does he have a superior catalog?
Oh, hell yes.
Hell yes.
Hell yes. His stuff looking like Ghostface stuff on steroids.
Yeah, and then there's some people in there who have the classic album, who died, but I feel probably would obliterate Eminem on a battle level like the Punisher.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying when it comes to like Eminem's place in hip hop. That's why I tell people all the time that I got like a top 20 that he don't even crack that list. And to be fair, let's keep this real. When Eminem hit the scene, a majority of his fan base, and they gotta take into account race. People act like they don't want to, but they have to take into account race.
Oh yeah, he got caught on out of nowhere after 1999.
When he came out, there were so many kids that started listening to Eminem that had never listened to rap before. Mm-hmm. I had one white person tell me, kid you not, she was like, I like Eminem. He's the best rapper ever.
Oh, yeah, I see them do it online all the time. I'll be like, how?
I said, okay. I said, how's he the best rapper? He's the best rapper ever. And then she went like this. I don't like Tupac because he raps about guns and violence. I said that Eminem raps about raping his mommy.
There's a lot of white people who kept saying that to me. I was like, so what you like about Eminem? Because he speaks about more things,
more depth.
Things. He doesn't, call women this and that or do. I'm like, are you smoking crack?
Yeah.
I mean, all his albums like, I'ma kill that bitch. Fuck him. I'll fuck him in the ass. I'll kill Kim. I'll decapitate Kim. I'll decapitate my mom.
All of Eminem's albums are Saw. They're audio versions of the movie Saw or The Purge. You know, so that's all my point is. People act like, and I really want hip-hop fans, the ones that are listening, that always make these arguments based on the moments he have on other people's songs or the few verses he has in hip-hop. If you actually put his discography next to other rappers and MCs in hip-hop, you will see that it is not as strong as people think it is. And matter of fact, people don't even consider his discography. People that always talk about Eminem as one of the best. When was the last time you went back and listened to Encore?
I never listened to Encore to begin with. I listened to some. I skimmed through it. And
he had a jam on there called Yellow Brick Road, which he was trying to make up for his Moon Cricket statements. You know what I mean? But outside of that, I mean, let's be real. A lot of these people don't go back to listen to Relapse. People haven't even listened to Marshal Matters too.
No, none of them, with the exception of the Marshal Matters, because it's staying in other tracks. And maybe Guilty Conscious on Slim Shady. I don't see anyone going back to listening to anything. And one more thing is, like, what is the universal criteria for the top 10 or the top 20? Is it the discography? Is it the freestyles? What are we going to make? What are we going to decide is the deciding factor in making a artist the top 10? Are we going to focus on their albums, or are we going to focus or take other things into account?
Well, see, then that's when you have to ask junkies like Billboard, the people at Billboard, because they weren't clarifying what was the top, because it was
all over the place.
That list was all over the place.
Yeah.
What you have to do with Eminem or just the top in general, you got to take into consideration the climate at the time. What was the climate? What was going on? Then his peers, his or her peers. Then you do take into consideration their discography. Do they make trashy albums? Yes or no? Then you can go ahead and start breaking down the lyricism.
Also, are we going to have separate lists for groups? So, is Andre 3000, is he going to be rated on himself as a solo artist?
Which a lot of people do.
Or are we going to mix up the list with people like groups like Outkast and the Fugees, or we have a separate list for groups or duos and groups in hip hop?
I can tell you this.
What is that too?
I can tell you this. D12 ain't on that list. I can tell you that.
Yeah, D12 is definitely not on the list.
You know,
D12 is a very goofy, subpar rap group.
Right. And you know, and originally, if you listen to their earlier work, they weren't like that.
Well, you know, they tried to get the max appeal with, mainstream.
Yeah,
it's coming off of the Eminem sauce.
Them boys are hella talented. Them boys.
You're saying you're vouching for them? No,
they are lyricists, but I'm just saying after they got entwined with that whole Interscope, Eminem, Shady, Aftermath machine, and their image got tailored for the masses, because people were like, oh, this is Eminem's group, so he's funny and goofy. I know they're funny and goofy. And when they start doing all the dresses and the purple heels and all that stuff, that was like, it was
shower caps.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, wow, that's not really them. Because if you listen to their underground stuff, like Proof, for instance, you listen to Proof's underground stuff, he sounded like a Detroit classic MC.
I would say Proof is the only one who didn't really tailor himself that much. He was the only one who looked regular.
Yeah, he stayed the same. He stayed the same. He kept that whole
voice the same and everything.
Everything. Now the thing about that is, going back to what you were saying with Outkast, people, and it's something that I noticed the dominant mainstream nerds do in hip hop. They always tend to isolate Andre from Outkast. And I always say that's not fair, because Big Boy is a dope lyricist.
He's a dope lyricist, and let's be real, the cadence the differences that they had, that they were able to feed off each other, made those albums what they were.
Yeah, because I'll be real with you. I'm just going to be real with you. As much as I love Andre's lyrics,
it's really melodic. And
I don't want to hear him by himself, though. I really don't. I love when, Andre and Big Boy used to come in there with that quick double time
Well,
scheme.
Speaker Box. I mean, even that one when they both did their separate solo thing.
I actually liked Big Boy's half.
But I appreciate that because I thought it was a dope concept.
Yeah.
Let's show people how we are on our own, but we're gonna have it on the same album.
And they still was featured on each other's stuff, you know.
That too, and when I don't think Outkast has ever put out a garbage album.
Nah, even Idlewild was good. Idlewild was a dope album.
I think everything they did was classic, except for Idlewild, since people don't put it out. But it's solid. It's a solid album. Idlewild.
It was dope. It was dope. What happened with Idlewild is the movie got tied into it.
Because people thought they didn't say it was horrible, but they said it was average. It wasn't nothing to really.
So when the movie got a bad rep. They looked at the album that was accompanied with the movie, and they were like, "I'm not messing with that." But it was actually pretty good. But I mean, if we're gonna do that, like I said, I mean, you can sit Outkast stuff next to Eminem, or you can sit you can sit a Cool G rap next to Eminem. You know?
Also, is what we talked about earlier. It's like who catalog you could do without. If I say there's a world where you would have to choose Eminem's catalog over The Punisher or over Lauryn Hill, even though they had one classic. Would you get rid of The Punisher's album? Would you get rid of Miseducation of Lauryn Hill to choose?
Nah, the first thing you hear from me, that's why I'm for The Punisher. I'm gonna give the blast all you fools. That's the first thing you gonna hear playing from my speaker.
Would you get rid of DMX catalog? Who catalog you can survive without? That's what you should ask yourself when it comes to creating these lists as well. Who can you can be okay with erasing from the hip hop history and legacy?
Yeah, and you can tell that again with M, it's just been on some weird goofiness, and like I said, the one solid album, Marshal Matters, yes, I give him that. The classic album, is a classic album. Still not my cup of tea, but I do recognize a dope mix when I hear it.
Well, for me, it's like the Marshal Matters LP. The thing that solidified that to me as a classic is, of course, a lot of the singles were great. But even Stan, to me, that's a top-notch, historic hip-hop single.
And then on top of that, he created a term in hip-hop that we still use today. Just like we use ether.
Exactly.
So I do give him that. That's why I said it's not me just hating Eminem. It's just I look at that one piece of work, and then that's it. But you gotta bring in all his albums. You're like, oh, it's okay.
I don't think people can even say something is hating when you can look at something and dissect it. When you could say Eminem is top notch on freestyles. Eminem, Marshal Matters LP is the classic. Stan is a top notch single. And it's in the history books within hip hop, and it created a new term.
Right.
So when you could say these things, of course, there's no hate there. Let's just be honest. Most of Eminem's catalog, outside of that, is extremely weak, and you're just being honest with yourself that is the case. It's not hating at all. It's like when we was talking about Chris Brown. He had a lot of talent. He's a great dancer. There's things that it looked like he was on the way up, but. You got to talk about the person's musical flaws, and lately his music's been hot garbage. So So it's about it's stop nut hugging people.
Yeah. I mean, we can even argue with Michael Jackson. His weakest joint was Dangerous.
Yes, by far.
See what I'm saying?
His weakest joint was Dangerous.
So it's like let's be real, but you take that versus how many classics he's had.
His classics outweigh by far any.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that, and I don't even think you can really go through the whole Prince catalog and be like, yo, that's a whack album. That's all I'm saying, and so that's what I see, and that's how I'm looking at the MC. I don't really care about the pockets, because if we're gonna argue that, Cannabis should be he had great pockets as well. He had brilliant moments, in hip hop, but his sometimes the catalog is a little bit all over the place. Although I will say, I'd say from his For Whom the Bell Tolls was a dope album. It was another one called The Laureate. It's like the last 4 or 5 of them he did were actually pretty damn good. But all the albums before they were all over the place.
Let's look at LL Cool J. And people can say what they want, but LL Cool J has more classic albums than Eminem.
Oh yeah, he does. I mean, but see, people don't want to go down that lane. They're like, oh no, we talking about something else. Then we talking about lyricism. They want to switch the argument to lyricism. But then when we get on other rappers, that could be up there.
To be honest, I'm a music person. Lyricism is definitely top notch, but you got to have the body of work. I got to be able to listen to your whole album.
I got to be able to stomach
and more than one album at that. You know, that I could just put on. Busta Rhymes is another one. He has a couple of classic albums there.
Yeah, Busta fell into a weird space.
Oh, you know, with the whole blending in with people after a while. You know, Touch It was a dope single, but you know, he looked like every other New York.
It looked like
MC
he tried to. Yeah, it looked like he tried to placate to the mainstream when he got with Interscope.
Yes.
And then afterwards, he tried to go back in and like, you know, I really want it. I want to show y'all I'm still good.
Well, he did that feature on Chris Brown.
Well, yeah, he did some albums at that time that were pretty dope. But by then, after people, you know, the whole Big Bang, which really wasn't a bad album.
No, solid.
Yeah, but when after that, people were kind of falling back off of him. Like, I think Buster's on that other stuff.
And it's why Missy Elliott was able to have a successful single, because she always kept her image. She tailored it to an extent, but she never got rid of it, or what Missy Elliott represents.
You know, Missy Elliott is actually one of the doper rappers that they got, like creatively, that is.
Oh, I mean, creatively, damn. I mean, she was.
Yeah, because I've actually listened to her albums. They're a lot stronger than some of the stuff Em has put out.
It is a lot stronger. You know, the thing is that for Missy Elliott, she has that melodic rapping style. Yeah, like it's like super duper fly. You don't know if she's talking slow. It's really dope.
Now, if you want to say something, a lot of the stuff that like Travis Scott and Drake and Young Thug are doing now, Missy Elliott and Bone Thugs and them had they pioneered back then.
They did already pioneer that back then. Yeah. They had that melodic, soulful, wordful element to their rhyming schemes. It was like butter.
Yeah. That's why, you know, sometimes I hear that with Drake, even though he's not as smooth with it.
Yeah, the funny thing about Drake is he isn't as smooth as those other two.
He could start off a dope verse, and then he'd be like, da 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 da. I'm like, what the hell? You know, whereas Missy Elliott, she was going in and out. Then Missy Elliott can sing, too. I mean, she can actually. Drake is a crooner. Yeah. People don't understand the difference. Like, a crooner is kind of what Nate Dogg was doing. He never really hit any high notes. You know what I'm saying? Drake doesn't really hit high notes if you think about it. He doesn't. He almost stays monotone.
He's not like Childish Gambino or Vince Mensa, who actually have soulful voices who can sing. He's, like you said, a crooner.
Yeah. I think even like vocally on the range, I think Young Thug be stretching it a little bit more than Drake.
He does.
You know, but like I said,
but what would you consider a classic out of Missy Elliott's discography?
Okay, out of her, I would go with the
Super Duper Fly is definitely a classic.
This Is Not a Test cookbook was dope too.
The cookbook was really dope.
Under Construction was good.
It was.
Yeah, man. I mean, come on, man.
You know what?
The Real World. Yeah, these albums I've heard. See, that's what I'm saying. She has a strong discography.
I would say even if you consider Super Duper Fly her only classic, if you want to be one of those people, the rest of her albums are all solid.
Yeah.
Eminem, one classic, a lot of duds.
Yes.
One classic, two solid, mostly duds.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's my point, and people get it confusing. Even some of the so-called Negro stands, right? I'm just being real.
Negro stands.
You know me. I'm just saying the Negro stands. If they actually sit down and just look at all his albums and think like, yo, when was the last time that I actually listened to Encore? You know what? I don't even think I even checked out. I don't even think I listened to Relapse all the way through.
Even the black people that I saw who bought Encore and stuff, which they did, I noticed they listened to it a couple times. I've never seen them go back to it years later.
Right.
You know, I remember even some relatives of mine, like my aunts, they bought it. They listened to it, but, you know, aunts and uncles, cousins and stuff. But then after, you know, a couple of days passed, it wasn't.
I've seen some people go back to Kingdom Come before a lot of M stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right?
No, I'm sorry.
Right? No.
Not for me, but I see them go back to everything else Jay-Z's done. Almost everything else. The Black Album.
Unbutton the suit, loosen up the tie. Superman's alive.
They go back to everything else. Reasonable Doubt, the Blueprint, the Black Album.
Even Holy Grail. I saw a lot of folks
I've seen people go to Holy Grail a little bit. I think because it's still his latest work. So I've seen people go to that.
And the Blueprint 3. People go back to the Blueprint 3.
With Kingdom Come, I think a lot of people just forget about it.
Yeah, because it came in right after his retirement.
Yes.
So it was kind of like, oh, wait, what? I missed what? I thought you was done. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah, that's what people were saying.
Oh, wait, there's more?
There's more?
Or there's more? Like, you're at the table. There's more? Yeah, so, nah, I mean, that's just my opinion on Shady. You know, like I said, you know, he's a dope lyricist. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on his lyrics. The boy is dope. But when people start mentioning him in the greats, I mean, what are y'all going off of? Y'all just going off moments, verses? Cause
I don't know what they're going on because one person in a hip hop group, I put my top 10. I didn't put Eminem in my top 10. You know, I had Lauryn Hill in there instead, and they was like, "Where's M?" It's like,
Where is he?
Where is he? What do you mean?
You tell me.
This is my top 10. She's like, they were like, well, you know, don't you think you should have Eminem in there? It's like, no. To me, because his body of work just isn't that strong, you know. And I'm sorry, Lauryn Hill's miseducation of Lauryn Hill for me, you know, is so pivotal in hip hop. It overshadows anything Eminem's done.
And then on top of that, look, let's be real, okay? You got rappers like Tech Nine.
Tech Nine is actually a superior. I'm not saying he's a version of Eminem, but if you want to be one of those people who cape for Eminem, he will be a superior version. He has a better discography.
Yes.
He's better freestyle wise. Yeah. His style is definitely dope. I definitely.
And he's always
Tech Nine.
Yeah. Tech Nine. Come on, man. Like that's what I say. It's weird. It's weird for me. I don't know what they're going off of when they throw him in the top. Like that's what I was saying about.
There's a lot of white people though involved in hip hop. Let's be honest with that.
Well, controlling
and stance, like Elliot is also a factor, you know.
He's white. Anyway, look, because there's a lot of white people controlling the narrative of hip hop.
Yeah.
Because if black people really controlled the narrative of hip hop, think about it.
I think it's more of a civil war because white people tried to put the narrative with Iggy, even though I know T.I. caped for her, and we kind of smacked that down. I think they were able to reason more so with Eminem, like, but he's lyrical, you know. Come on, don't be racist.
But that's why I'm saying they need to challenge that. Mm-hmm. You letting these people control the narrative. Mm-hmm. With that billboard, it was so goofy. Because if they would have put Tech Nine on the list, then you would see Eminem's position be challenged. He could still be on the list, but he'd have to be up under Tech Nine. He would have to be just off GP, off discography, off flow, off, in fact, innovation, because he did influence a lot of what Eminem is doing.
In fact, Tech Nine is better. Tech Nine, I see him on jazz, classical,
yes,
ragtime,
yes,
instrumentals.
Right.
He goes.
He's always challenging himself.
Yeah, he raps on instrumentals that most rappers can't rap on. Eminem can't rap on.
Right. So that's why I'm saying. They control the narrative, and that's why his name keeps popping up in random places. Best West Coast rapper, Eminem, Slim Shady, Marshal Matters, the first 3 slots. You're like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? So, that goes back.
And the Grammys try to force him. Remember, we talked about this earlier when I said I started to be a little bit annoyed with Eminem when he came out with that album and it beat Ludacris and everybody else, and it was corny, and they had that album winning above the other rap albums that came out at the time. I was like, this is BS.
Yeah, and I think there was one time because I remember when Wyclef dropped the Eclectic, right? Mm-hmm. Classic album, and I remember I think it was a Vibe Awards or something that they gave him the nod, and I'm like, okay. So that's why I told you, like, I just thought his position in hip-hop was very suspicious to me.
It's kind of corny going after people like Moby. I gotta put, like, why are you going
That's
after Moby?
That's another thing. This is why this boy can't be in the list of the greatest. Who has he really battled?
Moby, Britney
Spears, Christina
Christina,
Aguilera,
NSYNC, Backstreet Boys,
Benzino, Ja Rule,
Ja Rule,
Cannabis. But like, who has he went at that? His throne was in danger. Like, okay, you saw Nas and Jay-Z. Both of them were in danger of losing something. Mm-hmm. Credibility, everything. Everybody Eminem went after, he was never in danger of losing something.
He wasn't.
Like, even if he just would have went after Hove, he would have been in danger of losing something.
And he showed me he has thin skin, because Moby made a joke about, well, he says homophobic slurs sometimes, but I'm just saying, I see him in wigs and cross-dressing and all that is. And then, Eminem,
just
went on the stage, and I'm not above punching a guy with glasses. Like, what?
Shut up.
People was looking at him like, what the?
You a white boy that wear do-rags. Shut up. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about it. Think about it, though. Like, that's another thing people need to question. Like, who has he been involved with lyrically? And when I said Jay-Z, he's in danger of losing something, I'm not saying that Jay-Z's just going to whoop his ass all the way across the board, but still at the same time, it would have been a credible MC he went after.
He should have went with someone who was a credible MC who had enough mainstream hype as he did. And actually battled just on some pure hip hop stuff.
Right, he never did it.
Never did.
You know what? I got.
And
mad
I'm not
at.
saying that that's the criteria, because
No,
some
but
people have it.
But that is part of it, though.
It is part of it.
Because let's keep it real. Tupac went after Biggie.
Yes.
Tupac at the time, he did not go after 3LW. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real. He didn't go after Tevin Campbell. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So. We need to factor that in. Like, I remember when Eminem came back after relapse, he said in an interview that he almost went after Lil Wayne, Kanye West, everybody, pretty much all the top credible rappers. Mm-hmm. I said I would have appreciated him if he would have done that.
He did. And and I agree. It would have been better if he did do that. And I'm thinking of the top 10. I was going to say that not everybody went up against someone. Some people didn't go up against anyone. But I would kind of tailor it differently now, because I feel like Lauryn Hill, when she was like, y'all could be Al Capone while I'll be defecating on your microphone like Nina Simone. Yeah. That's kind of challenging a lot of the male MCs out there. Right. So she was challenging like a higher status of people than Eminem, even if she didn't drop any names.
Yeah, and people got to keep in mind when Eminem threw some bars at Lauryn Hill, that wasn't really a challenge, because at the time his image was so goofy, Lauryn just dismissed him.
Yeah, Lauryn didn't take him serious.
Nah, nobody took him serious. You got to remember, he was still lumped in with O-Town and 98 Degrees and NSYNC.
She probably felt like, oh, this is dumb.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? But Eminem has never had that battle. People talking about Cannabis, but Cannabis had been, he's still one of my favorites, but he had been through so much controversy in the industry that his name had this stench on it.
What, to play devil's advocate, though, what would you say to people who said, hey, Eminem started off as an underground rapper, he was doing battle raps?
Nobody saw that shit. Nobody saw that, right? I mean, because we talking about, come on, man, then if you're going to do that, you can make that argument with Nas before he got into it with Jay. Mm-hmm. Oh, when Nas did a lot of freestyles underground. You see what I'm saying? Uh-huh. People remember when Nas dropped Ether. People remember when Jay-Z dropped Takeover. People remember when LL and Cannabis got into it on the same record. People remember when Ludacris and T.I. were throwing slugs at each other on Stump.
T.I. and, what's his name?
Hell, they even remember T.I. and Shawty Low.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But nobody can really say Eminem has been...
T.I. has a better discography.
He does. He really does. T.I. probably has, like... least favorite.
He got like 3 classic albums, right?
3. He got some solid joints.
3 classic and a couple of solid.
Even I'm Serious was dope. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. My point is that like it's weird when it comes to Eminem. For some reason, we don't judge him by the same criteria we judge every other rapper. If you think about it, even how other rappers handle him, they're like, oh, I don't want to battle him, but they say everybody else is.
They're like Chris Rock. Stand up when he's like, a lot of black MCs are afraid to go after Eminem because he talks about his mom. Imagine what he would say about your black ass. I'm like, come on, Chris.
Oh, come on. Chris had his suspect Sambo moments. Anyway, look, the thing about Eminem, like, come on, like, it's even when I saw the game. Now the game, come on, the game is a ferocious dude on the mic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when they asked him about Eminem, oh, I don't want no problems with the white boy.
I would say that I do think Eminem is a superior lyricist, like a freestyle and everything compared to the game. But the game has the musicality and things that I feel he could possibly have won a rap battle musically.
He's got a stronger discography.
He got a stronger discography when it comes versus Eminem. The problem is, that whole mentality that a lot of black rappers, really good ones, had about going against Eminem.
Yeah, they didn't want to touch him for some reason. And it's like...
Or maybe I guess they wanted some white person to breathe in the industry. I don't know. I don't know what was the reasoning.
I just
or maybe Dre. Maybe out of respect for Dre.
Come on, man. Get out of here. Look, I just admire the ferocity of, if you read the stories about the MCs from the early 90s. They just, whoever. Look, Tupac did not care that Chino XL lyrically, as far as like rhyming words together, was a superior lyricist to him. He just said, fuck him.
Common didn't care that Ice Cube was considered a superior lyricist.
He didn't care.
He went at them.
Yeah, but, something happened around that time when Eminem was like, all the rappers were just like hands off. I don't know. I'm good. But then, like, that's what I say. I don't understand the mentality. They were like, I can beat every other black rapper, but when it comes to Eminem, hands off. Nah, I can't mess with the white boy.
At this point, I don't even know what to say about that mentality.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. What are we judging him by as far as a great MC? And why is it that he's not put to the same standards like other rappers? That's my point. So, folks, go ahead and leave your comment here. Tell us how you feel about Eminem. Tell us how you feel about the conversations. Continue to subscribe here. Did you have any final thoughts?
I was forced to be pro Eminem earlier on. And leave your comments about how you feel about this conversation below.
Get out of here. She is still pro Eminem. All right, we are out. One.